Okay, peeps, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the Bitcoin conference and what Trump had to say there, and we're going to go over Bitcoin as requested, GME and AMC, and we're also going to go over some dividend-paying stocks, and you guys can kind of get a delve into my mind and see how exactly I'm going to go about strategizing some of these dividend-paying ETFs going into the future. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so the Bitcoin conference did just take place. There is something very specific that Trump said that I wanted to point out. And I can't give you these numbers verbatim because I don't remember exactly what they were, but basically the short of it was that he did state that during his presidency, the price of Bitcoin went up more than during Biden's administration. That is actually true. I tested these numbers myself, went back in time, tested them myself just to be sure, and it is actually true. So we'll get into that in a minute. But the other thing I want to point out here is that, well, a couple of things. I watched the entire conference. Basically, one of the most key point things I think that was said in there was Trump did say that of the Bitcoin that was confiscated by the U.S. government, which I think is around 210,000 Bitcoin, they want to use that as a long-term Bitcoin strategic reserve of some kind. So they basically want to hold it at he was pretty much implying that similar to how Bitcoin holders hold Bitcoin for the long term, that's what he wants to do with the Bitcoin that the government currently has. So I would say that's extremely bullish, even more so. You guys can see a cool article here on Trump's personal crypto holdings. So you can kind of get an idea of what he might have here. So we have some NFTs, some Ethereum, MAGA coin, and Trog. I'm not sure what Trog is. I know what MAGA coin is. See some digital trading cards, just some pretty cool stuff. I mean, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot more than we have, that's for sure. But I mean, Trump's already a billionaire. Before he was even a president, he was already extremely rich. So you can see that. I mean, wow, they sold 45,000 NFTs at $99 each. That's a lot. So kind of gives you pretty much a synopsis of everything that's in the portfolio. But you can see that his portfolio has gone up substantially over time. The major thing I want to point out here is this, okay? If you're bullish on crypto, you want to be bullish. And again, this is not financial advice. You can do what you want, okay? But you want to, if you're bullish on crypto, you want to be voting for president, irrespective of how you feel about him, for the sake that he personally owns crypto, he's personally invested in crypto. As you guys can see, Trump is personally invested in crypto. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that both, I believe that the Winklevoss twins, and I'm also pretty sure that the CEO of Kraken donated hefty sums in crypto to Trump in support of his presidency. So that should tell you where the crypto space is on Trump becoming president. And of course, he's personally invested in crypto. So I don't think I really need to say much more about this. I mean, in my opinion, it would be pretty stupid for somebody not to vote for Trump because of how they personally feel about him, while at the same time they're bullish on crypto, thinking, oh, yeah, the Democrats are going to pump my crypto bags. Well, I mean, crypto did go up, yes, because of the Democrats, but it's not because of the Democrats that it went up. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, the government has checks and balances in place. You have the president, you have Congress, and you have the justice system. It was, it has been these companies fighting against the SEC and some other things, like the justice system stepping in and saying, hey, you know, you got to do this or that. It's been outside influences that have come in and stopped any of this garbage that the Democrats are trying to spew onto the crypto space. Okay. You can go look this up for yourself. I don't need to say much more about this, but that's just my opinion. So let's go over the history of what Trump was talking about here. So Trump, during his last presidency, he was president from 2016 to basically the end of 2020. Okay. Now, pretty much as close as I'm going to be able to get this is pretty much about the start of 2017 to the end of 2020. So let's go ahead and measure it. This is on the Bitcoin chart. So January of 2017 to we'll just say December of 2020. I don't know where exactly which candle that is. I think it's this one. So as you guys know, December of 2020 was the previous breaking of the all-time highs for Bitcoin. So you can see the position was up a massive 2,000%. Okay. It's a little hard to see exactly where it topped out here because, again, there is this indicator that I'm going to show you guys on here. So if I compare that to something like, let's say, Biden's presidency, okay? So Biden got inaugurated in January. You can see Bitcoin was already heading to new all-time highs again. That was maybe not necessarily because of whoever was president, but part of it obviously has to do with the, halving cycle and stuff like that. So, but from the bear market lows, which was the lowest point during Biden's administration, to the peak, you have a 356% gain. Well, I would say that 2000 is a lot more than 356%. And we saw way bigger gains, way bigger gains on altcoins than we have during Trump's administration than we have on Biden's administration. I'm actually going to show you guys an example of that. Okay. So Dogecoin, and another factor that plays into this is the Fed rates. So the Fed rates were at all-time lows back in 2020, but the Fed rates are at all-time highs right now. So that does kind of play a little outside influence here. But you can see, and of course, I mean, this did happen during Biden's administration, but again, it was all because of the halving. And January or May of 2021 here was also long before the Fed started raising rates. Which again did happen during Biden's administration. You can see it's 5,700% on Doge. But from the lows here all the way to the swing highs, 400% is not bad, but again, it's not nearly as much as this was. So I don't think I need to say much more about this. History kind of speaks for itself here. So a couple of other things I want to point out here. The monthly time frame candle is about to close. As you guys can see, it potentially is going to close higher than this previous monthly candle. If that happens, I would say there is a pretty good chance we're going to break this bull flag and start heading bullish here pretty quick. The other thing that I want to point out here is this indicator that I was telling you guys about. So this is known as the Bitcoin hash ribbons indicator. You guys can look it up for yourself on here on TradingView if you want to. That's entirely up to you. The thing I want to point out here is, as you guys can see, we're really testing the top of this flag here. As we showed you on X, it's getting pretty close to potentially breaking out. Again, the target for the flag is 125,000, so almost double the current price. But the interesting thing about this indicator I want to point out is just how effective it is. So you see that we get rare signals on this for buys, okay? So we got a buy signal here. What happened when we got the buy signal? Bitcoin absolutely shredded to the upside, 152%. Another one here, the only other one that we got was the first buy signal, which was the bear market lows, which from there to the previous all-time high, 367% move. And then this also indicated the bottom for the summer dump that we got back in 2021 before the true all-time high, 130% move. And then the last time before that was right around the time that Bitcoin broke its previous all-time highs in 2020, which was a 300% move. But the thing I want to point out here is not even on the weekly time frame. This is just to show you guys how accurate this indicator is. Okay, it's incredibly accurate. I could not believe it myself when I saw this and back tested it. But I'm sure you guys have noticed immediately when I pulled up the chart, we have a buy signal here on the daily time frame. Last time we got a buy signal on the daily time frame was right around 26,000. Okay. It went from 26 to 74,000. That's a 183% increase. Again, that is on the daily. Before that, you're looking at January of 2023, all the way down here at 16,000. What happened? We went all the way to all-time highs, 358% gain. There was a buy signal down here, although during August of 2022, although that was not quite the low. The low was actually back here. Again, it reflects a little bit more accurately on the weekly time frame, which we showed you guys before. But I kind of just want to go back here and show you guys again. Buy signal, boom, upside, buy signal, boom, upside. You're getting a bunch of buy signals here, even though it was chopping sideways. So what we can gather from this is that if it does chop sideways and we get a buy signal or a bunch of buy signals, that means that we're pretty close to at least getting to the lows, okay? Maybe not necessarily the launch point, but getting to the lows. Again, I want to reiterate the last time we got a buy signal on this, Bitcoin was at 26,000, and we currently have one as of right now. So in my opinion, as high of an accuracy as this thing has, I would say likely we're probably going much higher from this point. When exactly it plays out, how it plays out, I don't know. But that's kind of what things are looking like right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this indicator and throw back on the RSI. And seeing the signal myself, I can tell y'all right now we're probably going to be getting much more aggressive into crypto at this point because it just looks like it wants to launch. I mean, Bitcoin. Trump spoke at the Bitcoin conference. We had that. We have the spot Ether ETFs. I mean, I don't see any reason why this thing can't just take off. Okay, so GME. As you guys know, we kind of got this line in the sand right here. So we're looking for this resistance to become support. It does kind of more or less look like it's holding around that area. Again, no guarantees. I mean, if we start getting kind of a sell-off here, we could come back to this trend line to 18 and then pop off to the upside. That's a possibility. The thing I wanted to point out here that I think is the most substantial is that we had this massive downtrend and we have had a massive breakout of it. Okay. Now, how long this thing takes to break to the upside, I don't know. But as soon as we broke this level right here at 24, that was a break of structure. Okay. What that means in trading terms is that flipped us from a bear trend into a bull trend where we're now getting a low, a high, and now potentially a higher low before a new higher high. Okay. That's what's known as a flip zone or a break of structure or, a bear trend turned to bull trend or reversal. It pretty much all means the same thing. Not really liking the EMAs here, but again, it's kind of just chopping around. I mean, if I zoom out here a little bit, you guys can kind of see that it's pretty much just holding this level right here. Pretty much almost exactly where this swing or flip level is at 24. So that's good. I actually want to go over to the monthly time frame here. So the important thing on the monthly time frame, which again has happened on AMC, you can see this golden cross took place just a couple of months ago on GME. Ever since then, we have launched the upside. In my opinion, I don't think we're done. I'm pretty confident we're not done. Okay, so we got this break of this downtrend line here. You can see it happen back here. I mean, it took eons for this thing to break out, nearly 5 years, and then we just saw this stupid, absolutely stupid move on GameStop. I mean, this is crazy. So, but this is the meme stock, meme crypto mania for you. Stuff like this can happen. A massive, nearly 11,000% move, but it took 5 years to play out. So in this case, if I just measure it going all the way back to the meme peak, January of 2021. Now we're in July of 2024. It's been 3.5 years. It's a long time. The thing that matters here is the golden cross. So we do also have one on the RSI, but you can see it kind of happened right back here. It didn't immediately play out, and then at some point it just took off. So we got that now, and we have the zone flipped and a break of the downtrend line. I mean, everything looks bullish as far as I'm concerned. Where the peak is, that's anybody's guess. The other thing I want to point out is that AMC did actually take off later than GME did, if I'm not mistaken. Let me actually double check that. So this thing took off in January of 2021. I think it actually started taking off in December of 2020. Keep in mind that is almost exactly the time that Bitcoin is supposed to be going to all-time highs, which in the later cycle, which would be this year, it should theoretically be December of this year. But you can see AMC started slowly popping off in January, but didn't really have its biggest parabolic move until roughly about the middle of the crypto bull year in 2021. So roughly about 4 months after GME really ripped to the upside, then we saw AMC do something similar afterwards. And we do also have a confirmed MACD golden cross here, so that's very good. About to get a golden cross as well on the RSI. It's not so obvious at this point. But I'm going to go ahead and scroll now to the weekly time frame, and then we'll go to the daily time frame. So you can see the RSI went from oversold, and now it's starting to shred to the upside. So the most important thing I want to point out here, once again, this glaring gap up here at 36.50 to 43. I do expect that to get filled at some point in the future, probably during the parabolic run, which I assume is going to probably start somewhere around the end of this year, whenever Bitcoin goes to new all-time highs. But, on the weekly time frame, I'd say it's looking pretty bullish. We are basically above these EMAs right now. That's a good sign. We're kind of chopping sideways. It looks like we might chop sideways and then push to the upside. No guarantees. Again, we are slowly coming out of this falling wedge. We did actually see something very similar on HUT 8. I want to show you guys this. So you can kind of see a similar pattern here. So you can see we're kind of slowly crawling up on HUD 8 out of this falling wedge, and then boom, just took off like a rocket ship. There's some synchronicities there. There's no guarantee it has to play out that way, but I did just want to point that out for y'all. So we could be seeing something similar happening, kind of a rounding up, and then eventually when it gets out of this wedge and confirms, and then boom, rips to the upside. Again, that target would be the top of the wedge at $12. Well, actually, the top of the wedge is all the way up here at 14, but I'm not sure why I have this measurement at $12, but it's somewhere between 12 to 14. So, and again, we of course had the price going down, MACD going up. That was an early indication of a bullish reversal or a bullish divergence, which indicates even though the price is going down, it could likely go up pretty quickly, and we did actually see that. So, last thing I want to point out here, not really too much on the daily, but what I do want to point out is that we are actually officially outside of the wedge on the daily. That matters. We are at a flip zone point, so this is resistance previously, and it looks like it's trying to flip it into support all the way over here, so that's definitely a good sign. We just need to get and stay above it. And the last thing I want to point out here is the gaps. So there is a gap here, all the way kind of around this $12 range, which again is roughly about the top of the wedge. But the two important things here are these daily gaps, so 1650 to 1950, 3650 to 43. We do expect those to get filled. So in terms of AMC, I'll just go over AMC here on the personal portfolio so you guys can see we still have our personal position. Actually been considering adding even more to this, even though we already have a lot. So I should tell you how pretty bullish we are on AMC. So yeah, 910 shares, 668. Honestly, if this thing went to like $20 to $40, I think we would be pretty content with that. So let's get into the dividend side. So TSLP, which is the only one of these 6 of the Curve Invest funds that we currently own, 49 cents. It was, I believe, recently paid out. So yeah, on the 25th. And then we also have QDTE. Excuse the helicopter noise. It must be a pretty busy day today. So QDTE, 35 cents. Again, that's per share per week because it's a weekly one. I expect it to be it already got paid out. So basically a day ago. And then, of course, XDTE was also quite a bit bigger. 26% yield, so 24 cents per share, as you guys can see here. In terms of FEPI and AIPI, so FEPI's payout was a little bit smaller. That's to be expected. The market has kind of had a correction, or at least a slight pullback. So $1.09, still pretty good. Expected to be paid out in 2 days. The AIPI one, which, as you guys know, we have almost exclusively, not just for the income, but for the AI exposure. Huge dividend here, $1.48. Once again, expected to be paid out in 2 days. One thing I do want to point out about AIPI is CrowdStrike. As you guys know, CrowdStrike caused some kind of outage that was causing like plane stoppages and stuff like that. Crazy stuff going on as a result of something that they have in their system that went down. I'm trying to see, what is the ticker symbol? CRWD. So we'll take a look at that. Yeah, so as you guys can see, this thing had a massive drop. So that combined with NVIDIA pulling back and some of these others pulling back and having like a wider tech-based pullback has pretty much more or less led to AIPI pulling back. But again, what goes down must come up, right? It's the way that the markets work. They move in waves. They don't go down forever, but they don't go up forever. They just generally over time go up. Okay, so what we're kind of thinking on this portfolio that we have here, we feel like we're a little bit spread out at this point. We have a lot of the single stock ETFs. Again, part of the reason for that is to take profits along the way and to also collect various different dividends. What we're thinking we're going to do with this is we're probably going to average down on some of the ones that have lesser yields, get out of profit, and then move those positions into something that pays higher, like AMZ, or Coney or MSTY for the crypto exposure. Obviously, maybe something like SQUI and VIDI. We kind of want to scale down on the single stock yield max ETFs. It's not that we're not bullish on it. It's just, again, we already have the exposure to these through YMAX, YMAG, and the QDTE, XDTE. A lot of these same companies are also in FEPI and AIPI, so we're kind of getting like double and triple exposure here, which is fine. Different income sources, potentially different strategies, but we just feel like we would be better off putting them in positions that were, if it's going to be single stocks, positions that we're more long-term bullish on. Okay. It's not to say that any of these others are not good. I do think OARC will do well on the backing of future tech. Obviously, Apple is Apple. I don't need to say anything more about that. Positions we're considering getting rid of is OARC, Apple. Definitely going to keep Google. Okay, we like Google a lot, and GUI. We're going to keep Coney and MSTY for the bull run. We'll probably keep AMC long term because, again, they have their hand in everything. MRNY. So biological advancements like cures for diseases, prolonging aging, stuff like that. We're very bullish on the biomedical industry, so we'll probably keep that one as well. We'll keep Square. So an overall good company. You know, they have Cash App, stuff like that, Bitcoin and whatnot. We're definitely keeping NVDY. There's no question about that. Very bullish on NVIDIA. And all these other growth stocks and all these other positions we'll probably keep. Crash and Fiat, we are going to keep those in case of the event of a potential bear market. If the Fed, well, I shouldn't say if, when the Fed cuts rates, the yield curve will uninvert. If there is some kind of market crash, we want to at least be able to make some money and some income on the short side. We're not bears. We don't like shorting the market, but you know, if it's going to go down, why not just buy the dip on long positions and get paid? And get more shares at a cheaper price and simultaneously load the boat on more short positions. Again, be careful with short positions. The loss risk on short positions is infinite because, as you guys know, assets can go up literally infinitely. It can go up to any amount. Okay. So in trading terms, the maximum you can lose on a long position is 100%, but the maximum you could lose on a short position is literally infinite. There is no limit. Again, it's not financial advice. You guys can do what you want to, but I'm just telling you guys, if you do go short on these or buy these short funds, please just consider being careful. XDTE, QDTE, YMAG, YMAX, we're probably going to keep those long term because those will at least hold value or appreciate in price, as well as AIPI and FEPI. YBIT, MSTY, and Coney, we're going to keep those for the remainder of the bull run. But as soon as we think the bull run's actually over with, we'll probably cash out and put them into something else. And we'll just continue to grow out the growth stocks that we're doing options on here. So we like the idea of having a mix, roughly about a 50-50 mix of dividend paying stocks and ETFs. And on the flip side, having the options premiums for growth stocks, because as you guys know, growth stocks do appreciate a lot in value, typically more than dividend paying stocks. So that's definitely a plus on that side. We have a lot of AI exposure here. Okay, so Google is very bullish on AI. Apple's trying to get in the AI game. Tesla's AI related. You guys already know that. NVIDIA, obviously, that's a big one. AIPI, FEPI, those both have AI related companies in them. Mara, as you guys know, the Bitcoin conference. Trump said he wanted the Bitcoin to be made in the US, right? Through the Bitcoin miners. So it's very bullish for Bitcoin miner prices. And Palantir is clearly an AI related stock. As you guys know, it's in AIPI, so that's obviously AI related, and then AIPI. So yeah, we like the idea of having a lot of AI positions. Again, the premiums for NVIDIA, Palantir, and NVIDIA and Palantir, and also SoundHound currently at the moment, at least on a monthly basis, are extremely high. So a lot of volatility there. I'm not suggesting get into AI growth stocks for options premiums, but we're doing it. So anyways, this should pretty much cover everything. Hope y'all enjoyed this content. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.